Hey everybody, thank you for clicking on the video. So this is my second time recording this because something got messed up in the recording and the whole thing, just the audio video thing did not sync. So hopefully this time it's going to be better. If you can listen to my voice and how absolutely short it is, it's a mix of a couple things. It's both the weather, it's just the temperature, like it's so bad, and it has the weirdest effect on me. Please just ignore the hair. It's doing something weird. So this is May 4th, Sunday. It is currently 11:37 a.m. This morning we had missiles, and yesterday morning we had missiles. So yeah, that happened. There are fishing attempts. Wednesday had a huge fire caused by like 18 arsonists and terrorists that just decided to set fire to the forests. So on that front, it's been a really shitty week, a really bad week. So the weather kind of helped the fires grow, and on the work front, it has been one shit show of a shift after another, all three of them, and it's just, the whole week has been exhausting. Emotionally, mentally, physically, I'm done. Honestly, it was, that's the best way I can describe it. With the face and the, yeah. So work is another factor in my hoarse voice, which is disturbing, but a whole other matter to deal with. So that's life. That was the shitty week that I've had life-wise. I did manage to, so sorry, I have tea in here and it kind of, the air sort of rises up. It's really not that important. Anyway, I did manage to stitch and write during that hell of a week. So I really hope this week will be better. And this is the second time I've been recording, so my voice is sore because of that. It ended up being a half-an-hour video, and I will try to give you all the information that I talked about there, but in shorter amount of time. So I kind of covered all the shitty things that happened this week. So yay, I'm doing a good job already. I finished the last diagonal under rotation for Pokemon. So I put it away, and it is now at 50.88%. So we're past the halfway point. So yay! And this is what I did. And since the entire area or rows or something is not fully done, I am contemplating on stitching the two of them in rotation, Pokemon and Fox. Because last week I talked about how when Pokemon is the diagonals are done, I will stitch on Fox monogamously. And now that they're both over the halfway point, Fox is at 15.19%. I think I'll just stitch a section and then rotate, stitch another section, rotate. Just do this till one of them is done. So because Fox does have less stitches overall, it's 32,928 stitches overall. So I definitely have less work on that one, so I expect it will be done sooner. And once it's done, I'll try and figure out how to turn it into a project bag, because I do think it will look perfect as a project bag. I also moved the colors from the big colors for all four whips. These are the colors for Fox. There's, let's see, all the orange ones are shared colors with Pokemon. So when I pull the colors for Pokemon to work on them, I might have to take the orange ones in here onto another ring binder for the both of them colors, and do another, like a third or even a fourth ring binder for Pokemon's colors. But that's still a long way away because I need to finish the section that I started with Fox. Ow. I kind of tore the other, I broke the other one in this size, so I have to use the bigger size, and it went right in the back of my head. So I will stitch all the way through here in diagonals. Hopefully finishing at the fox. I think the face should be around here. And then as I go, the other foxes, it's like 3 foxes overall in the whole piece. And so as I stitch more diagonals out, the other foxes should be cleared up. I knocked it on my head again. I'm clumsy. It happens. So hopefully, like, the more I do, hope it won't like go beyond this part, this group of boxes, because otherwise I'm gonna have to do the first half and then the second half, and I'll probably just end up doing the second half, like the bottom half, and it will be bizarre and like incomplete. I don't really like when things feel incomplete. But they're both past the halfway point, which is amazing. The other whips are not, which is fine as well. On the whip go front, we have had the calls, and then they started, and I had to start it about a day late because I was working that day. Which apparently I should not be working at the beginning of every month, because that's where the chaos is originating from. I had 3 shifts. Each of them was just one customer after another, and in 2 of the shifts, I also had to open a bunch of boxes and take all the books out and put them in their place. And in one of those shifts, I was completely alone. In the other, I had one other person. And it did not work. It was chaotic. It was shitty. And then in the last shift, we were three, and one of our 2 registers decided to break, and it was still one customer after the other. People got impatient, and they got angry, and they got mean. And I do not like customer service, especially when the customers are basically treating me like trash, which eventually some of them did after they waited long enough and got angry enough. So, shit show for the entire, just the entirety, of the week. And then add in the fire and the missiles and the weather, and I'm done. I'm literally done. I also have a shift tomorrow that I'm still not sure I'm going to be able to do. And if I do go on that one, I might have to cancel the one, like the next one, because I'm absolutely burnt out. Knowing me, I'm just going to pull through until I physically get sick. So hopefully I will stop before that actually happens. But if I don't, and I don't have a video posted next week, that's why. That's why. It would be because I worked so hard, I worked beyond the burnout, and I just got myself sick. Yeah, so that is happening. About the writing, did I say that I completed number 5 on the book? Because I did. I don't remember if I said anything about it. Doesn't matter, I just did. I just said something. So, on the writing front, I did not get to work on the screening this week. I got very little writing done this week, just as a whole, because I cannot write at home and I don't want to go outside in this weather. And I usually can write in the garden for like half an hour increments. Sometimes less when the puppy gets needy. He's asleep right now. He made an appearance in the first recording because it was very shortly after the alarms and he was still kind of freaked out. It's so cute. He's adorable. But he doesn't really understand why we go into this cramped space for 10 minutes. And he gets really stressed out about it. And then he kind of needs the moral support that being around other people gives him. Which is adorable. But is also really concerning. Because no other dog in any other country has to go through those things. And I worry about him because of it. Anyway, on the writing front, I can only write either in the garden or at work. So at work, I could write in the past when it was quiet, when there were no customers, there was nothing else to do shopkeeping-wise. So I would just sit and I would write and I would watch the store if I was alone. And this week, it was just impossible. I managed to finish a scene in Dirty Deals, which I decided to write again, to keep working on. I finished a scene, I started a scene, and then I finished the paragraph that I started at work. I finished it at home before I had to help set up the dinner table. Because it was Friday, and on Friday we have family dinner with members of the extended family. So, yeah. So I got back to Dirty Deals, and I decided to work on my series Rose Creek again, because there was a book with a very similar setting in the spotlight section in the store, and I got really worried at first because it was very similar. But then I read it a little bit more and I compared it with mine, and it's not that much. It's just settings and what they do and the fact that he's grumpy. And that's it. But in my case, he has a reason to be grumpy. He's still grieving his dead wife. At least in the first book. That's the case. That's the whole situation, and there's 5 others. The entire series is about a group of 6 friends who were best friends in high school, then sort of went their separate ways in college, and after 6 whole years, the last one, a pastry chef who went to learn to become a pastry chef in France for 6 years. She comes back, and she starts working in her dream workplace, actually, which is a bakery at a town that specializes in maple goods. So a lot of the pastries that she's gonna make are maple related stuff. So she goes to a maple farm to get a maple vendor for the store, and that's where our male lead is working. He actually owns the farm, so yay. So it's if it's familiar to you guys, it's probably because there's another book that's similar to it, except she inherits a bakery, and the farmer is a pumpkin farmer, and he's grumpy for no apparent reason that I could understand, at least. We're not exactly allowed to read at work, so you have to read the blurb at the end of the book and find whatever we can about it online. Or just buy it and take it with us home, which I'm not going to do because I'm working to make money, not to waste money. But we do get like employee copies, but they're only for books in Hebrew, and it's less comfortable for me than reading in English. So if I don't have to, I'm not going to. But that's about it. So as far as I've gotten on writing the book, in Rose Creek, the first one, she made it home. She reunited with her friends. She is currently staying at her mother's place until she can find a new place for herself. And she's awaiting Monday so she can start work. So the male lead is still not... My dad's coming out. Hopefully you can hear the creaky stairs. So hopefully he will show up soon. But I can't make him... he can't show up until she actually starts work and figures out that there's no maple vendor and decides to, research it and get a maple vendor. So, yeah. I mean, I might do a split POV with the farmer telling, what happened with his wife and how she died and why he's still grieving, even though it's been, I don't even know how long. I'll have to figure it out when I actually write a chapter from his POV, if I do decide to do that, because I still don't know, because I'm a pantser, which means I'm figuring out the story as I write it. Although I do know, the major plot points that I want in this book, in next book, and basically every other book in this series. But I don't know the details yet, and those I'm going to have to figure out as I write the story. And he's going back up. Hopefully you're not going to be able to hear the creaking stairs in the video, but yeah. So that was me. That's everything. I did also add about Dirty Deals that he's giving her a tour of his place, and they go into this closet. It looks really tiny on the outside, and then she goes inside and she's like, oh my god, it's so big. And I was contemplating using something to compare it to. I know that I want to use something to compare it to, but I was contemplating between Mary Poppins' bag. How it's this little purse, and she pulls a whole, wall lamp. One of those really long lamps that just sit on the floor somewhere and are high enough to light over a seat or something. I think they're called wall lamps. Or or maybe floor loops. Anyway, she pulls one of them in the original movie. She, from 64 with Julie Andrews, she pulls one of them out of this, like, really tiny looking purse. And that's the one that I ended up going with. And I will quote, a real Mary Poppins situation. But ideally I would have gone with Doctor Who's TARDIS, just because I'm a huge fan of the show, and it seems more fitting. But proportion-wise, the bag should be fine. Thing is, I don't want her to seem like a nerd, because she's not a nerd. Like, it will be the only, like, nerdy reference in the entire thing. And I don't want to do that because it's gonna be this contradiction to her character. Light is working very weirdly today. Always, but today especially. So yeah. I wasn't really sure which one I should go with, and eventually the nerdy and contradictory to her personality thoughts came, and I decided to go with Mary Poppins because everybody knows Mary Poppins. And everybody's seen it, and it seemed like the most pop culture thing to say, like, to choose. So I don't know. If I'm wrong, let me know. I also mentioned that I need to, fix the broken clamps that I have. And I have two. One is the middle size, one is the slightly smaller size. It's still not the smallest, but it's a smaller side. It's like the second smallest. I was thinking liquid Gorilla Glue, but I'm not actually sure. So if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. And in any case, I would need to put all the clamps that I'm using in boiling water to shrink them to their original size, because a friend told me that that's what I'm supposed to do. Kind of like those phone cord scrunchies or hair ties that used to be big a few years ago. I was told that, I thought in a video that putting them in boiling water would shrink them back to the original size after they, like, grow in use. And I don't know, I'm kind of scared to try it. So if any of you tried it and it worked for you, please let me know. If you tried it and it didn't work for you, please let me know. My Instagram and my Discord server links are going to be in the description below. Please talk to me about anything. Really, I'm always down to talk. If I don't respond within 24 hours, I didn't get it. If you want to provide feedback on my 2 versions of Chapter 1 of this reading, also let me know. I am still looking for 2. I'm still looking for feedbackers, because I sent it to like 15, and only 2 came back with the feedback, and 1 is unusable because the person who did it just did an awful job writing the feedback, and they didn't mark anything that I asked, and I asked to mark things, so when I merge the 2 versions, it will be easier for me, and I won't actually have to go back to the feedback paragraphs, which this person, that's the only thing they wrote, and only bad things. And then when I asked them why they did what they did and wrote what they wrote, then they said there was some good in it, but it's not. Like, just like, why? I'm asking things to be done a certain way. If you don't want to do it, it's fine. You don't have to. It's not like you're getting paid for it, but you did agree to help. So I was so pissed when I got that. I honestly started getting really, really worried. Then I figured this person is a writer too. It's possible they were jealous. It's possible they were they were suggesting a really bad and outdated advice that a lot of, like, new writers for some reason still use, and a lot of the more experienced and established writers have said publicly that it's outdated, that it's bad, and that people should just never, ever, ever use it. I don't use it because I could never figure it out, but, I mean, if I can figure it out, other people can figure it out, and then, you know, why would we use it if we can't figure it out? So I racked my brain around it for a few months back when I thought it was a really good advice, because a lot of newer writers, not established, experienced, as those other writers said that it was a good advice. So I tried to follow it. I couldn't figure it out. And then I saw interviews of more experienced writers in my genre and out of my genre who said that it's bad advice, that it's outdated advice, and that writers should not be using it. I will not say what this advice is because I know that some readers swear by it. But I'm not going to use it because, well, I have my reasons, as stated earlier. Yeah, so that is it. Glad I could share 4 minutes. So keep on stitching, keep on reading, and keep on writing, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.